Hello and welcome to Daily Politics on Trust TV. On this program, we discuss issues around politics, policy and governance. I'm Hamza Idris. On Monday, September 25, Nigeria security forces said they successfully rescued some hostages, including 7 female students, from dozens of people who were abducted from Federal University Gusau in Zamfara State. They said this operation followed 2 days of fighting with the kidnappers. The kidnappers, who are part of criminal bandits groups, had abducted over 30 people on Friday, including at least 24 female students, in a raid near the Federal University in Gusau. This instead marked the first major kidnapping at an educational institution since President Bola Ahmed Tinubu assumed office in May. In retrospect, the president had pledged to address security challenges in Nigeria, where kidnappings by ransom-seeking gangs have become a continuing trend. While tension continues to brew over the incident, which some fear may escalate if the current administration fails to handle the situation the right way, others have asked critical questions, which they feel, if left unattended to, could worsen the situation. For instance, the current governor of Zamfara State, Dauda Lawal Dere, is not in good footing with the immediate past governor and current Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matawalle. How can this affect restoration of peace? With the entire northern ceiling bordering Niger, is there a cause to worry? Or better still, is it out of place to create a nexus between what happened in Zamfara and other states to Niger coup, as millions of Nigerians who were initially involved in trans-border trade are now out of business and are facing untold hardship because of this? And a little backgrounder, Zamfara State is among several states in northwestern and north central Nigeria where bandit groups operate almost freely. These groups carry out attacks on villages, leading to casualties, abductions, and the destruction of properties. They maintain hideouts in a vast forest spanning many states like Zamfara, Katsina, Kaduna, and Niger. In February 2021, bandits kidnapped over 300 students from a girls' boarding school in the town of Jangebe in Zamfara, but released them several days later. Joining us in the studio to do justice to this conversation is someone who was part of efforts to rescue abducted passengers of the Abuja-Kaduna train incident in 2022, in addition to many other interventions. Professor Usmani Yusuf served as the secretary of the committee. He's also the former executive secretary of the National Health Insurance Scheme, which is now the National Health Insurance Authority. Welcome to the program, Professor.
Thank you very much.
We're happy having you in our studio after a very long time.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, we'll take a short break, and when we return, the conversation commences. Don't go away. Again, Professor, welcome to Daily Trust.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, I'm tempted to actually go to Kaduna briefly before we go to the issue of insecurity in Zamfara and Northwest, because there is actually a relationship between politics, insecurity, economy, and all that.
Absolutely.
It was tensed in Kaduna between yesterday and today. And it's like, was there judgment, let me ask you, from what happened at the tribunal? First, they did it via Zoom, and there is like there is dissenting voice or something like that.
Right. I don't know what the judgment is, and I'll be talking out of. I just came into the studio, so I don't know if they announced the judgment.
Well, what they said is that 2 of the judges said there will be a rerun in about 4 local government areas. You know, they announced this via Zoom, but the lead judge dismissed PDP and Ashiru's petition. He dismissed it completely, that there was no case.
Right.
But the other 2 said no, there should be a run in order to determine who won the election between Governor Obasani and Ashur.
Yeah. So my big concern is our democracy is being determined by the courts.
Okay, that is your concern.
Big concern. Big. And it shouldn't be. If INEC had done the right thing, people would not be running to court. End of story. Everybody running to court, it means they have issues with the umpire. I mean, judges have better things to do than to litigate elections issues. Honest. And this Zoom...
We had one in Kano.
Yeah, we had one in Kano, and we are Zooming everywhere. I'm worried about this, and I'm not happy. Let's talk what brought me to the studio today.
What brought you is security, but obviously, probably. I want... INEC is not here to exonerate itself. You think the judges are innocent?
No, I don't know. I honestly don't know.
I'm tempted because you're also a politician in your own right.
I honestly don't know what is presented to them and what made them reach that decision, and I've not read the decisions. And but my big concern is that we are having to go to court to litigate elections that should be litigated by people at the polling unit. This is a big concern. And it's the person that has the most money that wins. We've seen it. And unfortunately, too, I'm one that is terribly disappointed with the legal system. I really am. Let's go to what brought me to...
I'm still insisting because I know you have a lot to say on this. Yeah, if we can't get it right in the political scene, are we going to get it right security-wise, economic-wise, and others?
It's bad politics that determines everything. Mm-hmm. The bad politics that affects the economy, bad politics that affects security, bad politics that affect cost of living of our people, bad politics that affect faith relationship. It's all our politics. Our politics over the last 24 years has not served us right. And it's not the democracy itself, but the practitioners of democracy. Our politicians have not been good custodians of that which they've been entrusted with. End of story.
And we have got into a situation, Prof, where judges, for fear of their lives, delivering judgment from God knows where.
From Ukraine, maybe, zooming. I mean, it's a big concern. And I hope we're going to do better next time.
Okay, amen. Now, this mass abduction in Federal University Gusau and environs. Could that be Tinubu's Chibok abduction of sort?
Yes, this is Tinubu's Chibok, and I'm glad you put it that way. This is the first mass abduction after the lull we've had. The last one was the Bini Nyauri in July, 2 years ago. So there has been a lull of about over a year. And now all of a sudden we're having this mass abduction. It is very depressing, very disheartening for anyone who is a parent, anyone who is a human being. We send our children to school to learn. And it is the duty and responsibility of government to protect us all, especially our children. And I've told people in government, leaders have forfeited the right to make excuses.
They have forfeited that
Absolutely.
Right because they sought for power and they got
Absolutely. It. That's why you're there. So don't give us any excuses. Why are we having this incident again 9.5 years after Chibok?
Yes. So that would have been the next question I wanted to ask.
So the government and the security agencies have learned nothing.
How do you mean?
No, look, we haven't learned anything. In 2014, there is this Safe School initiative. After Buniyadi and after Chibok, where government...
We also have a DFC.
Absolutely. Where government brought out policies to protect our children, especially in conflict areas. Children are meant to go to school to learn. Parents are meant to feel safe like our parents did when they sent us to school. But governments are not taking care of these children in this school. This university, and this is the first abduction from a university, a federal university.
You're taking it to a higher layer.
Yeah, no, a federal university at that. All the previous abductions were secondary school or the Islamia school in Tegina. This is the first in a university, a federal university at that. A university in the home of the Minister of State Defense. That should mean something. In this university, there is no perimeter fence. None. Daily Trust reported that. No perimeter fencing. No security. When your reporter went to that university, there was only one policeman at the gate of admin, and there is another civil defense at the reception. And there are no hostels for students. So students get their hostels from the community.
In the first place, meaning we have to even interrogate the integrity of the university.
I mean
whether it is truly a university or a glorified secondary school.
Most of them are like that. But this is an open thing. Anybody can go and do what they did.
And the hostel is actually maybe built by private investors.
No, they are private,
because it is outside,
private individuals in the community provide accommodations for this students. There was a student that said there are about 100 of them in these 3 hostels.
Yes.
There was not a single policeman, not a single civil defense.
It was Daily Trust who actually brought that story out, and I wanted to ask you, Prof,
I saw that. I read
because
that.
You see what is happening with the media also. Until we sent our reporter who was able to brought out some of the salient issues, that it was not even the first abduction. They picked some.
This is the third.
Exactly.
The first abduction, they took 3. The second abduction, they took 5. This is the third abduction. So what did the government of Zamfara State do?
That they are being abducted like chickens.
No. So the government of Zamfara State, if the security is their responsibility, what did they do after these abductions? In a hostel of 100 students, there was not a policeman, there was not a civil defense, there was not a military man there. There were only two local guards. For goodness sake. And anybody, you go and see the convoy of a governor. You go and see the convoy of a governor. Policemen all over with guns, and you cannot protect our children. So government has been irresponsible, government has been complacent, both the federal and the state government, in protecting our children.
Federal and the state government.
Absolutely.
The Minister of State for Defense is the immediate past governor of Zamfara State. This state has been taken over by PDP. Is there a relationship between what is happening and the politics between these 2 key individuals?
No, are you saying is the politics between them responsible for this? No, I will tell you. Okay. Zamfara State, it's near and dear to me because that's where I spent my formative years. That's where I went to secondary school.
Zamfara?
Absolutely. Gusau, GSS Gusau.
You're from Katsina?
Absolutely. So the Zamfara of that time is not the Zamfara of today.
What went wrong?
What went wrong is bad politics. Zamfara has never been lucky. It's bad politics, people fighting among themselves.
Up till this moment?
Up to tomorrow.
Okay, is there, because...
Okay, let's talk about this. Of all the states in the north, why do we have this problem in Zamfara? Zamfara is the nidus, is the root of all this banditry, and it has literally infected the whole of the north. 70%, about 70% of bandits in this country they have their address in Zamfara. The first mass school abductions in the northwest.
It is like a virus.
In Kankara, in December, was it December? Yeah, December 2020 or 2021. It was done by a band of bandits from Zamfara. So, people in Zamfara State, elders in Zamfara State, politicians in Zamfara State need to check themselves, because God Almighty will ask them this. Why is your state the way it is? Why are our people in Zamfara State the way they are? A state that is very rich in gold. We were there, we spent a week in Zamfara. We went all through the forest. We met the bandits, we met the emirs, we met the governors.
And gold mining is still ongoing.
Absolutely.
Have you found that?
Absolutely.
And they have security operatives taking care of them.
Anyway, so Zamfara State is a mess. Politically has been from day one. And is that politics that is costing the lives of our people? We are all parents. This is the 7th day these children are in the hands of these bandits.
Where is the problem? Because the governor said federal government is negotiating with the bandits. The Minister of Communication fired back.
Communication?
Minister of Information. Yeah, he fired back saying the governor is playing politics with this.
Yeah, and the Minister of Information has no business talking about this.
How do you mean?
I will tell you. He's from Niger State. He's from Niger State. If people from the federal agencies go to his state without informing the governor and go and keep talking to the bandits, would he come out and say the same thing?
You think the approach will be different?
Yes, he won't. I will tell you, because he's wrong. Whoever went from the federal government to Zamfara state without going through the governor was wrong. We have experience in going through forests in 8 states. Each of the states we went to, we had to go through the governor, through the emir, from Sokoto, the sultan, to Kaba, the Oba, from Elisha, Baruten. We see the elders there. It's only courtesy. You don't come to my house without telling me. And this is exactly what they did. And the governor, I applaud him. He had every right to raise his voice and raise the alarm.
The Zamfara governor?
Absolutely.
Don't you think maybe they are suspecting him?
No. Let me tell you what is happening.
Okay.
Let me tell you what's happening. And we've had the news. And so there are people all over now, a group of people that have lost their voices when we were talking over the last 4 years. They lost their voices all of a sudden. Oh, now they are latter-day negotiators. They want to come and help solve the problem in Zamfara. There are former governors, there are former ministers, and there are a group of people, group of Fulanis from the northeast that are going into Zamfara.
For what?
For all these negotiations. Negotiations.
Different groups.
No coordination at all. No coordination. They'll come here because they go to the forest, they tell us, oh, these guys have come, these guys have come. It takes a long, long time to earn trust from these bad guys in the forest. So people come from Abuja, or they sit down, people come, and the other person that you don't go to him thinks you've given these guys money. So all this misguided, all this disjointed negotiation is what caused this. The person, the idiot that went and took those girls, felt slighted, felt he was not consulted. And he did this nonsense. So this is, you do not know the environment, you do not ask people, you do not talk to people, you keep going into the forest. Gandhi said, whatever you do for me without me is against me. It's presumptuous for a group of people. They say, oh, their only qualification is we can speak full day. That's their only qualification. So we go to Zamfara. Then they are from the northeast. It's like Kanuris in Kano, or Kanuris in Jigawa, or Kanuris in Lafia. Go to Borno and say, oh, we've come here to solve your problems on Boko Haram. Or Yorubas in Kogi or Kwara State, go to Oyo State and say, oh, we've come here to solve your problem. That is presumptuous, that is rude, that is arrogant.
You try to solve that problem with your group?
No.
Led by
problems are local, solutions are local.
But it's like with the inception of this government, we are going back to square one?
No, not only square one, we've gone back, really back. And I will tell you, what we started, 4 or 5 years ago, going into the forest, with the government that President Buhari and his NSA and security people at that time did not want us to go. They came and said, oh, negotiation is not the question, and the press, southern media were all against us, vilifying everybody, but we knew that was the right thing to do. We continued. And in fairness to President Muhammadu Buhari and the military, especially under the leadership of General Lucky Irabo, we went and made presentations to them. We are not enemies. We're working together. And eventually we worked together with the military, with the approval of the President and Commander-in-Chief. That was what led to the establishment of that Chief of Defense Staff Action Committee. We rescued all those trained.
Talking about earning trust of the bandits, is this not sign of failure of government?
So you see what happened. We didn't stop there from releasing them all out. We continued having discussions with them, and anybody that goes to Kaduna today or comes from Kaduna to Abuja, either by road or by rail, should say a little prayer to our gallant men and women and to the Chief of Defense Staff Action Committee, because we continue to work. We get a formal agreement, cessation of hostility, temporary cessation of hostility, and security of our rail and road network. So all this quietness you see is not by accident. And the plan was to broaden this to all areas of conflict in the north.
Not necessarily banditry.
No, all areas of conflict in the north, and achieve permanent cessation of hostility. So I don't know, they didn't read the handing over notes.
And I'm tempted to ask you, where is that Chief of Defense Staff Committee? Where is it now?
We did all of that. We presented it to our principal, and I'm sure he presented it to all the relevant parties. And we worked together with the DSS to get this 23 people out. It was beautiful to see all the services, the Air Force, the Navy, the Army, the DSS, all working together to achieve a goal. That's how it needs to be. But now, looks like they want to reinvent everything. You can't do that. And this messy negotiation is what's responsible for this. I will ask them to retrace their steps, evaluate what has been done, and see how you can build on it. But now all this bickering between the governor of Zamfara state saying people have been coming to state and talking to bandits without talking to him, and has every right to raise his voice. And the Minister of Information saying, oh, the federal government has the right to go. No, it doesn't. Problems are local, solutions must be found locally. And I've said it, any big plan from Abuja, like it's been done over the last 10 years, big plans from Abuja without local consultation has never worked and will never work. I hope they learn their lesson. And now the ministers of defense, both of them are saying, oh, we did not authorize anybody to. There are a bunch of people, a minister here, this there, a former governor here, a bunch of Fulani people go in there, and former this, former that, go in. Let them back off, trace back.
Okay, you also
see what has been done and see how they can build on it.
You also heard that there are many committees now negotiating?
Yeah, they all come.
You heard of that?
Yeah, they're all going.
Are you worried? They said there was one from NSA, one from Vice President,
I don't know where it's
one from...
I don't know where it's from. They're all from all...
Minister of Defense.
All over the place. All over the place. What are they going there?
What is the motivation? Why do you think they are not working in synergy to say, okay, we're having single committee to go to Zamfara, rescue these abductees and hundreds of thousands that are actually living in bondage?
Right. So I don't even know whether they went there, these committees were there even before this abduction. And their mismanaged negotiations led to this. So it's not that they went there to help rescue these people like we went there to help rescue...
They were there earlier.
Yeah, they went there, they want to bring peace, they can do it.
Why is the interest from various quarters? Is it the gold in Zamfara?
No, Zamfara is a mess. And unless we handle it properly, unless we understand it...
Yes, I mean, why the interest? Yeah. Why are different key stakeholders that ought to work together? Why are they going at cross purposes? So
tell me, where were all these people all these 4 or 5 years during Buhari's time? When his body language, President Buhari did never open his mouth and say no negotiation, at least to us in public. It's just his body language. And the people around him say, no negotiation. Buhari never said that. Number two, so where were they? All of a sudden now, because they see the new sheriff in town is more open to discussion. Oh, some even go to the villa. And then they come and press and say, oh yeah, the president has directed me to take charge. Nobody invited us. Nobody directed us. The government was against us. But we thought and felt and still feel it is our duty and responsibility because it's our people. Nobody needs to tell you to go and do
So is it material gain that differentiates you and them?
All I'll say is I don't know their motives, but our motive is for God and country, alhamdulillah. But it's causing problem, they should collapse everything. People that do not know, absolutely, people that know nothing about Zamfara, people that think they are just there because they understand full day, I want to warn them, they should stop ethnicizing this. Banditry is not a full day problem. Banditry is a national problem. You cannot go to Zamfara or anywhere in the north and say you are going to only talk to Fulanis, or go to Benue and talk to only the Fulanis or Niger. What we did, we're talking to elders, we're talking to governors, we're talking to traditional rulers, we're talking to Nsake, we are talking to victims. That's how it should be done. Ethnicizing it and thinking it is only Fulani issue, it is wrong. It shows lack of understanding. It needs to be, it's a national problem. Fulani Hausa, Fulani Gwari, Fulani Nupe, Fulani Tiv, Fulani Yoruba. In Zamfara, we saw that earlier, when the military was going to the forest and building boreholes and clinics for Fulani, where local people protested. And so, well, these killers are coming to kill us, and you are going to give them distance? So unless you sit down and understand it and address the issues of all the communities, you are never going to solve this problem. And problems, big plans from Abuja without local consultation will never work. People that have no cultural or ethnic relationship to that place,
they will not succeed.
Will never succeed. Won't succeed.
All right.
Won't. And if your motive is money, these bad guys in the forest can tell. The honest and the dishonest. They can tell. They can tell the honest. If you go there and give one money, they expect you to give money. The moment you start offering money, you lose. You lose.
It's not about money. It's about peace building. Okay, I will play with you to hold your breath as we go on break, Prof. Viewers, don't go away. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back. If you're just joining, this is Daily Politics on Trust TV. Do well to follow the conversation across our social platforms on Facebook, Instagram, and watch us live on YouTube. Still having the studio, Professor Usman Yusuf. He's Nigerian professor of hematology, oncology, and bone marrow transplantation. He was secretary of the Chief of Defense Staff Committee on resolving the abduction of the Kaduna Abuja train, among others. So you have seen it all. Why do you think the response to this latest incident in Zamfara came late? Of course, I know that the president, the NSA, and the Minister of Defense were all in New York when this thing happened.
Yeah, I would expect one of them to have come back to Nigeria. If they were all there. I know the president and the NSA was there, but I don't know about the ministers of defense. And I haven't had anybody from the federal government addressing the nation about this abduction, apart from press statement from the presidency, which is highly inadequate. And I don't know if anybody has been meeting with these families and updating them. Look, this is not the first time we've been through this. We went through this from Chibok to Dapchi, to Bini Yauri, and now we're getting that. Just last week, there was another one, copycat in Nasarawa, Lafia. They abducted a girl in Nasarawa Polytechnic. So what we don't want, we've had a quiet period from July 2020 when they abducted this little girls from Bini Yauri. It's been quiet. Now we're getting this. What we don't want and what we must work against is we don't have copycat. We need to address issues and stop this disorganized, disjointed.
Yes, you said one of them ought to have come back from New York. Is it the NSA?
Any one of them.
Does he have?
Look, any one of. I don't know what value he will add, but somebody from the federal government to come and talk to people, especially the families. Not the presidential spokesman bringing statement and always saying the president affirms. We don't want affirmation. What we want are solutions. What we want is the president and commander-in-chief to console people in their hours of need. That is what the president and commander-in-chief
So
is
the
supposed to
NSA
do.
ought to be in the country.
I don't know the NSA, any one of them addressing people, and nobody has. We've seen this again and again. Previously, in years, I think from Kagara, they stopped going. From Kagara, you would see the service chiefs, the NSA, the IG, they would go to the communities. Since then, they stopped going. They don't go anymore.
Are you worried that they didn't directly address families of these ladies that have been taken?
Even during, what's the name? Even during when they took those little girls in Bini Yauri, the parents were left without anybody addressing them or talking to them. So it's become a culture. Bini Yauri was a federal government college. The Minister of Education at that time, Adamu, what input did he have in getting these kids out? This federal government, federal university in Gusau is a federal university. We need to hear from the Minister of Education. We need to hear the President or his security appointees, and go there, meet with the family, meet with the emir, meet with the community. Tell them what you guys are doing to get these children out.
Do you have an idea which bandit group abducted this?
Yeah, speculations.
Let's hear that.
No, this is not something.
Just mention.
We don't talk about speculations on national TV.
You heard of it, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay, who is
a bandit leader that felt left out from the discussion they were having in Zamfara. But nobody is given any excuse to this.
Okay, I want to understand it clearly. Meaning the ongoing consultations. The federal government mediators, let me put it this way, they are meeting with the various groups. Okay, so this person was not involved of sorts.
Yes. It was a big mistake. And we saw the same thing between them, between these bandits. If you understand this, that's the first thing you need to do is understand. Instead of dropping yourself into this area that you know nothing about. So
he ended up creating another frontier of problem.
This is what happened. You cause a lot of problems.
What are his motives?
Even when we went to Zamfara, we would go to, you hear them. Wherever we went in this country, they knew where we were. They knew we went to the forest in Kaba. They knew we went to a forest.
The bandits.
They have networks. So you come to Zamfara, you go and see this guy. These other guys will say, so you don't think I'm important. And they do something stupid.
What is that?
Abduction, killing people. So you have to, what I'm saying is that you have to.
The motivation is to actually demoralize the negotiation?
No, so the whole idea is whatever you do, be inclusive. Include everybody. When we went there, we spent a week. But I bet this high-powered delegation from Abuja probably flew or drove in their SUV, armored SUVs, saw, and boom, went out. You can't do that.
Half-baked
You cannot develop any trust with this.
Okay. What do you think they should do?
Be sincere. Be sincere and what are your aims? And do not reinvent the wheel. Already done a lot of work. Go and read your handing over notes. Read your handing over notes. You cannot restart this thing all over again.
It will not work.
It will not work without consulting. Meet the governor. Meet the traditional rulers. Meet the Ardos. Meet the community leaders. See Ensakai. Talk to everybody. But you go straight, you go into the forest, you're out, and...
Will you rule out the fact that Zamfara is now PDP and...
that is not the reason they have this. But what worries me is, because it's now the Minister of Defense was defeated, roundly defeated by the current governor. So you are a Minister of Defense, you are the governor. And you will not be supporting this governor to bring peace to the state. That will be a big problem.
You think they are working at cross purposes?
They will be working at cross purpose if and only if, and I said it in one of my papers, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu needs to be a very strong commander-in-chief that President Buhari wasn't. He shouldn't sit down and let people just keep bickering. He should call them to order. The gladiators, the political gladiators in Zamfara that are causing this problem, that have been causing this problem. because the bad policies in Afra is causing this problem. Call them to the villa. Show your anger, knock some head, give them ultimatum. I need you people to work together, and I need these girls out.
Do you think Tinubu has the capacity to?
Oh yeah, Commander-in-Chief. Commander-in-Chief is not a joke. The Constitution has given you that power to deploy. If you don't,
you say Buhari, who was the general, failed.
Yeah, he didn't. No, it's not because of the general. That's him. Just that's him. And God help him. His time is done. It is now President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He does not know about our insecurity.
Why do you believe in him? And why do you think
what I'm
he can
saying,
do better?
we have to do things differently because we saw a mistake. If we keep repeating the same mistake, and he wants to go down in history as a president that has done something, every president needs to look back and see what were the mistakes and how can I improve on anything. Admittedly, he agrees. He doesn't know anything about politics. That is why he doesn't know anything about insecurity in the north. That is why he has literally handed over security to northerners.
You supported Atiku during the election. Do you think he will have done differently, the approach, if he were the president?
The approach is always listen to people. The approach in leadership governance is humility and wisdom. You show that you're humble, you want to understand. We went part of our quest, we went all the way. We saw the Sultan, we went all the way to Abeokuta to see President Obasanjo.
So where is Tinubu getting it wrong now?
No.
Is it that because his candidate, of course, Matawale was his candidate for second time in Zamfara. He was his coordinator for the Northwest for the presidential campaign. Matawale has lost out.
Hamza,
yes.
This is politics. And wallahi, if they continue to bring in politics into this insecurity, we'll never get anywhere. I've said it again and again, the North, we are tired of this insecurity. It's been 24 years of Boko Haram, and now 9 years of banditry.
And politics is being played out still.
And we can solve this problem ourselves.
How?
If we are serious. By sitting down and addressing it. Oh, the governor, the minister of defense, they are not working together. What kind of nonsense is this? It's not about any one of them, it's about our people, it's about our country.
You are not taking it back to the president again.
Of course, everything, the buck stops with him. The president and commander-in-chief has that power. That is him. Call them together when he comes back from New York or wherever he is now. Call them all together. I need you all to show them your anger. Because look at him, he was in Washington, he was in New York, bouncing around leaders. I have friends, my American friends calling me and telling me, Usman, you're still abducting children after 9.5 years of Chibok? It's a body blow to the president. Going on the corridors of the United Nations, meeting people, they're looking at you. You're talking about going to war in Niger, bringing democracy when you cannot secure your children. What is the purpose of government? What is the purpose of government? So it is him, not any minister, not any NSA, not any service chief.
In my intro, I tried to create a nexus between happenings now in the Northwest, starting from Sokoto down to Northeast Maiduguri, surge in violence, killings, and all that. Is there any relationship with happenings across the border, that is in Niger, following the coup?
Look, we all know Niger has been playing a pivotal role in checkmating bandits and Boko Haram. It is part of a multinational joint task force there. And we have over 300,000 of refugees there. And we know, we've seen it, the intel, we've given it, the intelligence agencies know. All these bandits get their weapons from Niger, that comes from Libya. So the Sahel is on fire. And here you are. We cannot contain this. And across the border, in the north, the 7 states that border Niger, with these sanctions, the lives of our people and the people across the border, It's excruciating pain. Medications do not go in. Food and medications are stopped from going into Niger. I have friends who are doctors in Niger. People are dying in intensive care unit because there's no electricity. Nigeria has cut off the electricity. The humanitarian crisis in Niger is serious. And exactly, we have the same humanitarian crisis across the 7 states that border the Niger Republic. So you expect peace on top of all these excruciating life difficulties Nigerians are going through. And then the few that can send their children to school, they have been abducted. So the President and Commander-in-Chief needs to, as a matter of urgency, call the Governor of Zamfara State, the Minister of Defense, and any political gladiator in Zamfara State. Sit them and read the Riot Act to them. They need to put their act together, work together, and find a way to get these kids out as soon as possible.
There are reports that there was intelligence ahead of the abduction. Could that be true?
That's what we hear, everything we hear. Nobody is talking to anybody in this country. The only, a jury in Gilari will only send a sterile statement. There's no way to govern people, for goodness sake.
Based on your contacts, any idea as to where these girls are?
We don't know. Whatever I say here, whatever I say is conjecture and may not be helpful.
Let's hear it, Prof.
No, may not be helpful to the security people.
Is it that because they know they don't want to use it?
Who?
I mean, the security agencies.
Look, let me tell you.
Okay.
Let me tell you this. We need to all, and I'm one of the big critics. I've been one of the big critics of President Muhammadu Buhari, with very good reasons too. And one of the very big critics of the military, with very good reasons too. But I saw how you can work together with them during the CD sack. And I saw the challenges, a glimpse of the challenges they're going through. So you tell me, is it the duty and responsibility of the military to guard schools? Not even Ukraine, where there's an ongoing war. Do you see the military guarding?
Who should guard these schools? Who should guard the communities?
The police. Hello? The police are responsible for internal security. I recently had the NSA saying he will recently put back internal security to the police. The police are nowhere to be found.
Do you see that happening?
They are in Abuja guarding big people.
So what should the president and the IGP do?
The president and the IGP should dislocate all these mobile police guarding big men. Send them back to where they need to be. And for the last 8 years, all we've been hearing from the military, from the NSA, is that we don't have enough boots on the ground. Why are you not having enough boots on the ground? What is the government? What does it take to have boots on the ground? Train them, send them to depot. During the Civil War, before the Civil War, Nigeria had about 10,000 soldiers. At the end of the Civil War, we had over 250,000. So instead of buying Tucano, train our boys and unleash them into the forest. Please,
but are you not
protect
taking us
our
back,
people.
thinking that we should take boots instead of getting the technology that can do the magic?
Technology can do the magic. That's what they were saying. Tucano, they spend billions of whatever. Yeah, technology, drone. In my room here, I can see up to Kaduna drones. But children are taken en masse into the forest. And we don't know where they are.
And we
don't know which agency is responsible. And nobody is talking to us. And how did they get there? Don't we have DSS? Where's the intelligence? The police, where were they not protecting the community? Why were they not protecting this school in a vulnerable state? In a school that has had 2 previous abductions. In a state that has had 1 mass abduction in Jangebe. We've learned nothing.
Why the deafening silence, Prof?
No,
from politicians, clerics, traditional rulers?
Call them and ask them. I am tired. I can talk, I will talk. Because God Almighty on Day of Judgment will ask you, what did you do?
Why do you think they are quiet?
Well, many are waiting. Let's see, maybe Tinubu will call them and give them appointment. Or people are afraid.
Okay.
They forget this prayer we say, and it's there in all our scriptures. We say that as Muslims at least 17 times a day. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. You alone we worship, and you alone we ask for assistance. People think it's a human being that will make you something. No, it's not. Our people are suffering, and all we see is deafening silence, especially us from the north. And when they give people responsibility to correct issue, what they are doing is bickering, fighting among themselves. We see that. We saw that during Buhari's time. The service chiefs were fighting between them, bickering, and the NSA, and now we are saying the governor of Zamfara State and the minister, the president and commander-in-chief. If I was President Tinubu, I give you 1 week to get those girls out and work together. If you don't, I'll fire the ministers. I will. For goodness sake. And if I was President Buhari, long time ago, I would have declared state of emergency in Zamfara.
Are you now prescribing this for the incumbents?
Zamfara has been much better than it's been before. And there is a new governor, new government in Zamfara. The federal government needs to, and the security agencies need to support this governor. Work together. Security agencies cannot do it themselves. The governor cannot do it himself. The president cannot do it himself. We all must work together. Forget ego, forget political bickering. If it comes, the president and commander-in-chief must step in and knock some head and fire people. It is not about them. Today, where are the service chiefs? They were fighting among themselves. Where is the previous NSA? Where is the previous president? They're all gone. They've left us with the same mess, the same problem. And forever, we will always mention it was during their time. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu needs to learn from all the mistakes, retrace all, look at what has been done, build on it. Stop all this disjointed, disorganized negotiation. But most importantly, call the gladiators in Zamfara, political gladiators, give them ultimatum. Read the Riot Act to them, ask them to work together and get our children out in a week. It can be done.
Okay, while doing that, parents are crying, sisters, brothers are all crying that they are sisters, and many others in captivity. What do you think should be done very fast to bring them back? The girls that have been taken from federal
the honest truth
and
is
many
that,
others.
Right,
I'm now expanding the conversation. Yes, because many are in custody.
And there are many. What we are seeing are the ones, the lucky ones that make the news. This is the sad thing. Our people have been taken as cattle for the past how many years? 24 years in the northeast and 9 years in the northwest. We must, as a people, work together, and we are starting on the wrong foot in this government. We're not working together with these governors, with this minister, with these negotiators going into the forest. It's wrong. The president and commander-in-chief needs to step in and ask them what has been done. Educate me about banditry. Don't leave it to somebody. Educate me. That is what President Obasanjo did when he came here. We brought victims, we brought academics, we brought everybody here, and we brought leaders of Fulanis here. He listened. A leader listens and understands and then delegates responsibility and asks for results. We never got results during Buhari. You're just giving people positions and they are fighting, bickering among themselves, and this is where we are. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu should learn from that mistake, and whoever is sending people to the forest needs to be humble, needs to get some humility, and needs to show some wisdom. Consult widely. Outside people cannot come to a place, and Northeast cannot come to Northwest and tell us we can solve the
complexities are different.
Even the Fulfilled Day is different. The Fulfilled Day is different.
You think they have a template to resolve the problem in the Northwest? This government, or they don't have any?
No template. This is the honest truth. No template. And if there is, they should show us, because we haven't seen it. But a lot has been done for them because they have seen the 8-9 years of Buhari's disaster. They should have learned. They should have learned. The other day I was going from Kaduna to Abuja on a train, and I looked. The stakes are stacked way high against us. It is a vast land. Vast terrain. Where do you expect to put soldiers? No country in the world can put soldiers all over. The fight has to be strategic. The fight has to be with wisdom. The fight has to be with humility. The fight has to be with everybody coming in. But somebody saying, oh, I have solutions to your problem. You come from the Northeast, you're saying you're going to solve our problems. You are doing nothing but insulting us. And you will not solve our problem just because you understand full day. That's nothing.
All right, Prof. Thank you very much. I wish we have more time to discuss more on this, but we hope to have you again, and we hope those that matter listen to what you said. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Because we've been with Professor Usman Yusuf, is a household name, and we thank you for joining us today. We sincerely hope you found the conversation engaging and informative. And be sure to join Daily Politics Live, airing every weekday, and also our special package on Friday, during which we open our telephone line for you to comment on national issues. Once again, thank you very much. Join us tomorrow live and contribute to the program. Bye-bye for now. I'm Hamza Idris.